How did that all come about that you got to play with Rich and then, getting in? What was the transition like?
Well, I mean, I was always a huge fan, Black Rose fan, like I told
Yeah.
you before. And I remember like 10 years ago, I went to the state. Well, I came to the States and stayed here for a couple months in New York. I was watching, and I went to a couple Black Rose shows, and I was telling my girlfriend back then, like, one day I'm gonna be there playing with them, and she was like,
Wow.
ah, okay, okay, yeah. But I was very focused on that. I knew that I was going to be like musically, and just because of the covers, I knew that we were going to be like very good friends. I don't know. I had that feeling, you know.
This was a random,
Yeah, it was just
just a
like,
random concert that you went to. You didn't get
yes, I was.
invited,
Yeah,
nothing. You just
no.
went, paid a ticket, and went.
Yeah. I mean, because I love the Black Crows, so I
Yeah.
went to see them many times, and and then like a couple months later, I posted something. I mean, Rich was doing a question and answer on Facebook because he was releasing one of his albums,
Mm.
and I remember posting in one of the comments like a link to a YouTube video that I was playing one of his songs with a dobro, just by myself in open tuning.
Yes, yes.
And 8 months later, he sent me a Twitter message saying like, "Man, I like your playing," and that's how we connected. And then I auditioned for him, and with two acoustics like this, just on a couch with
Yeah.
two acoustics in New York, and I ended up playing with him for 2 years.
Wow. So the audition is just you and Rich on a
Yeah,
couch.
yes, on a couch, yes.
What did you guys play?
I went. I remember I went with like 40 songs of his solo stuff that I learned, and he was like, "Okay, just do you know this other song that wasn't on the list?" So
Yes.
he wanted to see me just playing off the cuffs, you know.
Yeah. Did you say
And
40 songs?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, and then for the tour I had to learn like 140.
140
Yes, in 2 months.
in 2 months. That was my
Yeah,
second question. How long does
yeah,
it take to learn that many songs,
yeah.
especially at the drop of a hat? Because
But you know, most of the songs
you already
I have them in my head, you
you
know.
already knew
Yeah, I had them
them.
in my head, and so it was just like getting there. You know, I have a good memory. I'm gonna give me that,
Yeah.
and that is important. And
Well, and you knew, and if you were if you were on the regular listening to these songs and you were a fan, then yeah, they're in your head. Because I guess sometimes when you don't even know the song, if you know the song, you can kind of put the pieces
of
together,
course,
right?
and what I did those 2 months was just listen to those songs. You know, I was
Mm,
like, I made a playlist for my car, and I was driving all the time listening to those songs and just thinking, oh, he's going to the bridge after this part of whatever, you know. And you know, it was the opportunity that I always wanted. You know, I
yeah.
always dreamed with that opportunity, so I wasn't going to blew that off.
No,
You know,
took it seriously,
see, yeah,
and all
it's
the
just
work
like,
that you put into playing previously and everything that led up to it.
yeah,
It makes sense, right?
yeah,
It's not like a chance that just happened. It's like it makes total sense that it happened.
and everything happened at the same time. You know, playing for change, like we were talking, and that thing with the Rolling Stone, and then Rich writing me that message. So I was like, this is the moment that I have
The
to be,
momentum is building
yeah.
now, and things are
So I
rolling.
have to be really like serious about it and professional, you know,
Yeah.
and just like, I mean, all the work that I've done now it's paying, so I have to work harder for it
Yes.
to you know to be better.
Absolutely. Now, leading up to the Crows, how's the audition for the Crows now? Because now you've already played with Rich, so
Yes,
you haven't established a
yes.
relationship here. Now, how does it transition into the Crows?
When the Crows got back together, they were using all new people,
Hmm.
and but I got to meet Chris that I haven't met him before, you know,
Right.
and we really got along. Afterwards, they were looking for a guitar player because the guy who was playing he wanted to focus on his band. So I already knew them, so I had that on my side, you know,
Yeah.
and they knew that I was cool, you know, and because if you have to tour with someone, you it's like a marriage. I mean, you wake up with
Yes.
them and you go to sleep with them on the
Very,
bus.
very important that the relationship and the vibe and the
Yeah,
hang,
it has to
the
be
hang.
cool. So I had that on my side, but it was like a this was like an audition, like a normal audition with the whole band playing in
Yeah.
a room. They sent me a couple songs to learn, and I already knew them, of course. And it was just like, yeah, man,
Okay,
you're in the
so
band.
they're all in the room. You walk in. Obviously, Rich is like, "Hey, everyone, this is Nico, this is that," and then you just guys kick into some jams, and it's like full band experience. Do you
Yes.
remember? And I asked you, I think was it like Remedy? And was it like Hard to Handle?
No, it
It was
was.
like deep cuts.
I remember the first song we played was "Sting Me,"
Yeah,
and then we went over "Gone," "Some Salvation," and there was a couple more. But it was it felt great, and it's just like Rich he didn't need to introduce me to the band because I mean I knew everyone and
sure.
Chris. So I mean, as a matter of fact, we went um, afterwards. We went to a bar to have a
Yeah,
beer.
that's great,
It was
man.
like
Yeah, natural,
it was
very
natural, and
natural.
I always knew, like I told my girlfriend back 10 years ago, uh, I knew I was going to play with them.
That's awesome. No,
You have to
that's.
visualize, and manifest those.
I was just gonna say the word manifest. Yes, I was gonna say. Well, you went for it, and it happened, man. Yeah, that's great. It's one of those things too, like you said. It's so important for the vibe and the fit as far as people go. Anyone can learn songs. Then there's people that can learn songs really well, and then there's learning the songs but providing the feel and the vibe to the music, which would only
And
happen if you're familiar.
of course, and respect overall. I
Yes.
mean, you have to pay respect for the music. It's not how good you play the song. You have to, you know, dig in and just like play what the song needs because that's already there, And
And that's something that people are relying to hear
of course, they
replicated.
don't want to hear
Yeah.
you like shredding
No.
or playing like this great solo. They just want to hear the song and someone that fits in appropriately.
Yeah. We've had a few guests on this show, and you mentioned the word respect for the songs and the music. I've heard that quite a few times now. A lot of people have said, in your position where it's like this respect thing. And sometimes we forget about that, man, because there's a difference between playing something physically and then there's a difference like, oh man, this feels really good. I'm gonna do this thing, and it's like, oh wait, what just happened? Did that help the whole room here? Right? We forget sometimes,
Of
It's
course,
like a
and
discipline, right?
but music is so much bigger than
Yeah.
us, the
Totally.
players or whatever,
Yeah.
So you have to be very respectful for music, I think so.
Yeah.